r/ask Reddit. Millennials. What confuses you about Gen Z? Do none of you realize putting your entire lives on the internet is going to come back to bite you in the ass someday? I did. So I changed and deleted everything and now keep a low profile on social media. I know about how I could get into danger or be denied a job. I'm 37 and realized this just about digital cameras showing up everywhere 20 plus years ago. I made sure not to be in any photos in college unless they were completely okay. Best decision ever. How do all these young guys get their hair to look that way? That's super in right now. Are they out getting perms? LOL the broccoli cut? I've seen this commented a few times lately, and it hits. I'm laughing again LOL. Why some of them act like they pioneered the social media influencer boom or look at me surprised because I have Snapchat, etc. Even though many of these came out when millennials like me were in our early 20s and the core demographic. One of the more interesting things I've read said that the biggest minbuck of getting older is talking to young people who will emphatically say things that are objectively false and argue that you don't understand things that you literally lived through. Gen X here to say, everyone younger than me keeps discovering things the way Columbus discovered the New World. Why are they all younger than me? Grow up. When I was their age, I was older. I had to age uphill, both ways, in the snow. The fact they might think about the 90s the same way I thought about the 80s or 70s when I was a child of the 90s, a long time ago. If Smashing Pumpkins' song 1979 came out today, it would be called 2005. Stop that. I'm 24, so what confuses me most is which generation I belong to. You're a cusp, 1 foot in each generation, the bridge between worlds. So, their coming was foretold and they will bring peace between the millennials and gens, ushering in 10 years of a golden age. Why are all the sneakers so bulky? I feel like that's just early 2000s fashion coming back around. Skateboarding shoes were super popular and bulky like cinder blocks when I was 13-14 around 2002. Yeah, but that's skater shoes. I've been looking for a new pair of running shoes and they all have 1.52-inch thick soles. They have a very weird and strange sense of humor, like it's hard to articulate what it is exactly, but it's quite precise. It's chaotic and can't be explained. Every time I see Zoomer stuff I feel like an old man who knows about typewriters being taught StarCraft. Meme culture has progressed through in 15 years what took art roughly 1,500 years to do. Currently, Gen Z humor is roughly analogous to the Dadaist, Surrealist, and Absurdist art movements of post-World War I Europe. The whole point is the absurdity. Contrary to popular belief, I don't think it is appropriate to jizz onto an ottoman. I watch YouTube on my 65 inches 4K TV all day, like a normal person. Well, I normally load the video on my phone and cast it. Where are all the Gen Z celebrities? Apart from Tom Holland and Zendaya, I cannot think of a leading man or woman in Hollywood in their 20s. Ryan Gosling is playing Ken in the Barbie movie and he's 41. A ton of older celebrities are getting roles actors used to never get at their age. It's actually been a big issue. The amount of actors doing action movies or other typically young roles in their late 40s and 50s is stunning. Stallone, this one goes out to you. Drop the botox and fall back. For a generation that grew up with Internet 2.0 and was handed an iPad at age 5, I'm baffled by how unsavvy they are with very basic useful tech functions. How to effectively Google something and navigate the search results. How to troubleshoot internet connection issues. How to not believe 100% of what you see online, etc. A lot of it is simplified and just works. We had to beat the shit out of things to get them to work. This is really the answer. They're not using tech. They're using tech light that's been optimized to deliver content and generate ad revenue. If there is no profit motive, it's unlikely to happen. This is why the latest iPhone that needs replacing every 2 years has a much larger advertising budget than the PC that will last 10 and cost 25% as much. I don't understand the rise of short form content like TikTok and YouTube Shorts. I will happily have a 4-hour video up in the background while I do things and the short form content annoys me. Even my preferred viewing experience when I'm actively watching is around a half hour. I can only assume the Gen Z population is part of the reason for short form content taking over, and I just don't see the appeal. It's new age channel surfing emo. It's also easy to consume and mindlessly scroll through, which keeps the brain happy with plenty of novelty. Novelty dopamine. I'm Gen Z and I'm confused. Mom, look, I'm famous. I hear being confused is part of being Gen Z. You got it down. As a Generation Xer, get off my lawn. Why do all of you claim to be shy, antisocial, and don't want to be the center of attention, all while posting every single selfie, dance video, etc. of yourself online constantly? Edit. Don't have TikTok. Sorry kiddos. We have them in every generation. We call them drama queens, attention horses. People who say shit like, boy oh boy am I sad right now. I most certainly do not want to talk about it at all. Not one iota. Everyone just leave me alone because I am super sad and for sure do not wish to discuss this. As a 30-year-old who doesn't drink, it's an interesting dichotomy. My younger co-workers are like, cool man. Me either. Whereas the co-workers my age or older are all like, the duck is wrong with you. Of course, that's flipped when the discussion starts to revolve around other drugs that I also don't partake in, lol. What does based mean? It means the opposite of cringe. Which is odd, because anytime I see people using based, I cringe. This woman was wearing makeup, so I called her a horse. Based. That they seem to idolize my childhood in the 80s and early 90s but don't do it. Like, Stranger Things is so cool. Riding bikes, playing board games, arcades, absent parents. And yet they are on their phones watching it while texting with their parents about every single thing that happened in their day. We came home. How was school? Fine. I'm going out. Okay. Dinner's at 6 inches. Huh, I didn't really think of that. With Gen Z there is a lot of daily chit chat with parents, which I always found odd. Can't speak for all millennials, but in general the less our parents knew, the better. I guess that's another drawback of authoritarian parenting from the boomer gen. Yay. I kinda realized it when my nieces and nephews started going to college. My sister and other parents in my family would get a hotel room, stay for a week, and help set up their dorm room. Our parents drove us and our stuff, which was basically a suitcase of clothes and a laptop, signed the papers, gave us a hug and drove away. The weirdest part to me, my younger family members like it. They are friends with their parents and really sad to leave. They go home on weekends if it's nearby. We wanted to get the hell out and be free. I guess it's nice. I'm friends with my parents now, and it's great. It's just very different. I don't understand why some hate millennials so much. I don't really care if they do. We're pretty used to it by now since we were blamed for killing everything. I just don't understand their reasoning behind it. They stereotype millennials as some quirky Harry Potter fanboys who constantly make the corniest jokes about your addiction to coffee and how much you hate your life. I mean, shit, that is exactly what we were doing back in the day, is it not? I'm only 26, so I guess I'm at the tail end of the millennial range and near the start of Gen Z. I've never understood the desire to copy those TikTok challenge trends. Cinnamon challenge. Every generation is a little stupid. Why do the guys in your generation get haircuts that make them look like a head of broccoli? They should just rock spiky hair and frosted tips like we did. That was after the bowl cut phase. Everyone in my middle school with a bowl cut had the wall haircut in high school. The wall is my name for the top of the hair flat down and the babs straight up like a castle wall. How incredibly tolerant they are of ads and being tracked constantly. We've grown up with it, so we are desensitized. I guess it's a lot like when you're constantly around a ticking clock, you get used to it. Why does it seem like they all skipped the awkward phase? It's like they came out of elementary school knowing how to coordinate outfits and drink Starbucks. Personally, I think this is mostly younger Gen Z, the ones who are coming out of elementary school since the rise of TikTok. I'm in Gen Z and we look nothing like middle schoolers now. Because to learn about style before, you had to have parents to buy you magazines or your own money to buy the magazines, and then also needed the money to buy the clothes and the transportation to the mall. Now style videos are easy to find and clothes can be delivered home, and I think parents are less judgy about what their kids wear. I coach lots of Gen Zers. What the duck are their emails? I was working with a few to get something done, and instead of sending one email with the information, 3 separate people emailed one person random piecemeal information with zero context. I had to remind them that email is not text message and have all your ducks in a row before hitting send. For the love of God. Otherwise, nothing confuses me about them. Like all generations, they are one. As Gen Z, I never sent emails before I got a job. I still use more time than I should formatting emails. Why staring at the camera, doing nothing, and poorly lip syncing a song is considered good content? They don't care about the content. It's just that they find some creators hot and it makes them tingle. How they claim moral superiority and understanding, yet ruthlessly socially dogpile on anyone they disagree with. They've got the absolute certainty of youth. I felt that way once, but I've mellowed with age. Truth be told, nothing. Yeah, what they do confuses me, but I know I acted in the exact same manner when I was their age, or knew somebody that did. They're still developing and trying to navigate a world where technology is moving fast. They also haven't been knocked around by life enough to get it together. TikTok trends where they all go out to buy a particular item, then toss it and move on to the next thing. All generations had trends, but with social media, the turnover is a lot quicker. It's almost herd mentality. Yep, I had a couple of teenage girls come into my store giggling. They brought a toilet plunger for me to ring up. In my mind, I thought they were giggling because they clogged their toilet and they were dying of embarrassment about it. But no. They explained to me that it's a TikTok trend to stick a plunger on someone's car. I felt a little lost, but I was like, okay, well, have fun. Boomer humor. I hate my wife Gen X humor. I hate everyone millennial humor. I hate my life Gen Z humor. Lem. Do you actually fact check anything or just read the headlines memes? Pretty sure no generation fact checks anything. It may sound ignorant, so I apologize, but when I was in HS, we hated being labeled. Now it seems people want their labels on display, whether it's sexuality or learning differences, etc. Ace, neurodivergent, etc. I respect it. I just remember not wanting to be boxed into labels. I overall respect Zoomers, but I don't understand the momgeens. The floppy disk is now called the save icon, and they don't know what a floppy disk actually was. Seems like as a whole they're the most political left generation, like, ever. But at the same time, many of them live such boring, restrictive, conservative lives. Also 2000s nostalgia, I guess. That still doesn't feel real. It's so jarring to look at the YouTube comments of an Avril Lavigne song and see someone going full on r/Lirong generation about how much better 2000s music is than today's music. The fact that my whole life I was called a millennial until recently, and now I'm suddenly a Gen Z. Born in 98 lol. Edit. This keeps coming up, but I do remember 9/11. I was only 3, but I remember my mom yelling at the TV. I remember watching the planes crash. I remember asking if it was real or a movie. My earliest memories started at age 2. A little before maybe. I don't understand why people fake mental disorders to get views on TikTok. Why so many of them don't know how to properly Google something. You'd think people that grew up with Google would know the basics. They want to be famous more than they care what they're famous for. I saw this yesterday. A bunch of teens came to the beach I was at. They proceeded to just pose while their friends took pictures of them. They even brought a football, and instead of tossing it back and forth they just posed with it. They then uploaded it to whatever social media, packed their shit and left. The whole thing must have taken 10 minutes. I was just confused. I understand the irony of posting this on a social media, but these guys totally miss the point of going to the beach and hanging out with friends. I'm not trying to call anyone soft snowflakes etc. But I feel like Gen Z acts like they're the first generation of people who have experienced hardship trauma, and it just comes off as insufferably whiny. The obsession with TikTok and inability to read any actual news or find sources detailing blank. YouTube and Twitter were horrific at finding sources and people on the ground for confirmation for our gen, but TikTok takes it all at face value. Every claim is 100% serious and is ready to war for. Are you okay? Anywhere I go to shop you all look miserable. Open bracket. I mean this in a genuine way, lol. With all this, everyone is fighting their own battles and it's okay to not be okay rhetoric. You all really like pointing out particular traits of mental illness and making fun of others for it. Like living in your head rent free. You really are X doing Y yikes etc. Why is the mullet coming back? Like really? Identifying with victimhood. Bad shit happens to everybody. I had quite a traumatic childhood that's taken years of therapy to figure out and unwind. Tons of personal growth on my part. It's necessary to be a better person and live a fuller life. I definitely don't understand walking around exclaiming trauma over everything that's happened to me outwardly to the entire world. It's good to acknowledge these things, but let's keep them in reason, please. Personality development can only happen when you acknowledge, educate, work and change. Sitting around whining about it isn't a personality trait and it's honestly pretty gross. Pity isn't attention you should strive for and affirmation support is really such a small part of anything. I'm Gen X and I want to know why Gen Z wears those hot hoodies in the summer. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.